Hey there, everybody. Editor Dan here. Real quick before the show starts, we did get affiliated with ExpressVPN just recently. We're not quite sponsored yet, but if you want to help the stream out or if you want to help the podcast out, go check out ExpressVPN/Nat1Fun, and that'll get you 3 months free if you sign up for the 12-month package. That's it, guys. Thank you so much. Enjoy the show. Welcome, everybody, to Nat One-on-One, a podcast where we gain insight on the individuals in the tabletop role-playing game community, about their current projects, and what kind of stuff they have in store for us in the future. I'm your host, Dan Munoz, and joining me today is the face behind many of the productions and games you see online, especially at the forefront of the Latina community, the brilliant mind behind Oops, All Latinas, the first and biggest Latinas in TTRPG's gathering, the creator of 936 TTRPG GIFs on Giphy alone. Yes, I counted. And the creator and organizer for the one and only Golden TTRPGifs Awards, where individuals and entire teams are nominated in different categories, a la the Golden Globes. Please welcome to the show, Jorge, aka RoboGoblin.
Hey, it's me, RoboGoblin.
How's it
Thank you for
going?
that.
Yeah,
That's
no, absolutely.
that's a pretty good announcer voice, by the way.
You gotta put it on. You gotta throw that thing on and make sure that people are like in it. I get inspiration from like wrestling and luchadora and stuff like that, like those kind of intros.
Oh, I see that. I see that now. Yeah.
So welcome everybody, welcome, and especially welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Now, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure being here. Kind of nervous, first podcast ever. So,
Well,
yep.
I'll tell you what, this is a relaxed and honestly the most, not necessarily the most random interview you'll probably be a part of, but we don't care if we go off topic or we hang out, we just talk and everything like that. I do have a list of questions that we're going to go through, but feel free to anytime jump in, talk some shit or do whatever you want. It's all up to you. And we'll just go from there. I'm just super happy to have you in the first place. So,
Oh, me too. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
all right. Well, Jorge or RoboGoblin, I like to start off these interviews where we get to know a little bit more about you as an individual, not necessarily about what you do or anything like that. I like to learn about who I'm talking to, and I like to give the audience a little bit of a peek inside of everybody's little domes, their lives. So you've really been hitting your stride these last few years in the TTRPG community, yeah? With like the TTRPG, the TTRPGifs Awards, as much like attention you're giving to individuals in the TTRPG world with like sending gifts their way, wishing them birthdays, getting groups of people together, especially in the Latina community. It's really amazing to see. Uh, I'd like to know how it all started with you. How long ago did you first start getting into TTRPGs to begin with?
Oh, okay. So I started playing Dungeons and Dragons when what? It was 2018.
Okay.
So we started a group of friends and I got together at my house and we started playing Dungeons and Dragons outside. We like put all the tables and we put like lanterns and all that to make it ambience adequated, and it is so cool. We put on music and we started playing Dungeons and Dragons, and that was on my birthday weekend. So before that, I didn't start playing. Well, I was a board game player
Okay.
with my
Yeah.
friends. Yep. But before that was I'm all video game players.
Okay. So that's kind of where I got my start. I was all video games for the longest time. But I kind of had like a little taste of D&D when I was in my teens. I had like I think one or two games like while I was a teenager, and I was like, man, this is kind of cool. I never
Oh,
knew what it
really?
was. Yeah, yeah. I had like one or two people, or I had like one friend that would invite us over like once or twice. Oh, out of like the whole high school experience, once or twice. And they were
Uh-huh.
like, let's play some D&D. And I'm like, okay, sure, I guess. While I'm playing like Star Wars Galaxies and like World of Warcraft and Counter Strike and stuff like that, I took a break and then I was like, okay, I'll check out this D&D thing. Fell in love. I loved it, but we just never played it a lot. So I totally,
Okay.
yeah, I get that. Um, was the whole board gaming thing or video gaming thing pretty common in, like, your family, or were you like myself where, like, I was basically the only one in my family that was, like, nerdy. Everybody else was, like, outgoing, and they, like, liked working outside, and they did everything. I was, like, a shut-in in, like, video games.
Yeah, that was pretty much me because my parents in my household, I'm an only child. So my parents used to get me all the consoles. I mean, I remember when I got the Super Nintendo, and after that, it was the 64. And I had all the consoles, and yeah, it was pretty much me. And whenever I got to my cousin's house, we used to play a lot of video games. Um, but that was mainly it. I mean, I was the only one at my house playing video games.
What was your favorite video game growing up?
Oh, okay, okay.
Or, how about this?
See,
How about this? Top 3, top 3. It's
top
never easy
three.
just to answer your favorite one, you
Oh
know?
my god, it's still pretty difficult to say that. Okay, so when I was really a kid, Mega Man X. That was
Oh, nice.
my favorite game. After that, it was Mario Kart from the 64 and Luigi's Mansion from the GameCube.
Oh,
And that
wow, Luigi's Mansion, nice name drop, very cool. I
I
think
love that game.
I think I was just more of, like, a role player from the beginning. I loved Final Fantasies, so, like, Final Fantasy VII was one of my favorites. Oh gosh, I'm blanking out. Uh, what the heck is that game ki I literally watch it on speedrun, like, all the time on, like, 100%. It's got, like, 20 different endings. Super Nintendo, I can't even remember it. I can't remember it. I know what it is, but I can't. But anyways, it's, like, one of the most amazing games or, like, most talked about games out there. RPG,
Oh,
it's a JRPG.
it's not Chrono
Yes!
Trigger.
Chrono Trigger, what am I doing? I'm so
Okay.
dumb. I'm so dumb. Yes, anyways, Chrono Trigger, and, oh man, what would be my 3rd? I'd have to say maybe oh shoot, it's that one's a tough one. Maybe Smash Bros. I think, like, the original Super Smash Brother or it wasn't even Super Smash Bros, I don't think, right? It was just Smash Brothers
Okay.
on
Okay. Yeah, it
on
was
Nintendo 64.
on the Nintendo 64. I remember that game. I used to
Yeah.
play it out.
There was, like,
When
6 characters or something like that.
yeah, and when I saw Pikachu was my main. I
Oh,
used to
for
main
sure.
Pikachu. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Pikachu's, like, whooping up on Fox McCloud, that was the shit.
it. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And starting with RPGs, I never actually played RPGs. I guess my favorite type of the only game like that was Pokemon, and
Mm.
I didn't play a lot of Pokemon because my parents didn't allow me to didn't get me a Game Boy because they thought I was gonna go blind if I played too much of a Game Boy. So I never played Pokemon. I used to play it on emulators when I was like a teenager, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I had I literally had the little yellow Pikachu edition Game Boy Color or whatever it was.
Oh,
Yeah, I gave it up so long ago, and I'm so disappointed that I lost it, but it was the coolest thing. I was the shit. I used to walk in with my Pokemon Red, edition, and my little brother had Pokemon Blue, and I was just, oh yeah, Blastoise was the ish back then.
okay. So you were a Blastoise main.
Yeah, I was a Blastoise man, I was Blastoise.
That's pretty cool.
I always had to beat my little brother, he was a Charizard, so I was like, if he's gonna go Charizard, I'm gonna go opposite, so
Okay, okay. So I'm more of a Bulbasaur
oh,
kind
there
of
you go.
guy.
So there we go, we got the trip.
Yep.
Alright, well, growing up Latina is it's cool, and I loved every aspect of it, but there are things that individually people don't necessarily get to see or know about, whenever they don't grow up Latina. They grow up in, their own communities and everything like that. Growing up Latin was a stream that was just put on by the very talented Lonzo Gonzo. Guys, if you don't know Lonzo Gonzo, go check him out on Twitter. Lonzo Gonzo recently put one on, and I saw you in the audience, because I went back and watched the VOD. And I'd love to have maybe like a little bit of a like what it means to kind of grow up Latina. And so Would you care to have a miniature kind of like, growing up Latina with me? It's like and how that translate to how you carry yourself today in the TTRPG world?
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah. First of all, what is my share doing? It's like getting.
Are you shrinking?
Yeah, I'm shrinking, but it's okay. Thanks a lot, chair.
Oh, hey,
Um,
look, it's Lonzo Gonzo.
Lonzo, hermano, I love you, hermano. Um, yeah, shout out to Lonzo Gonzo on Twitter and everything. But yeah, growing up Latina, it was so I grew up in a place where 90% of the population there is Hispanic. So basically, everybody talks um, and talks like me, walks like me. It's like me.
Mhm.
Um, and my first language was actually Spanish. So I used to go. It's a border town basically. So I just go uh, 5 steps and I'm in the United States, and 5 steps and I'm in Mexico.
Yep,
So it's
yep.
basically yeah, yeah. And my
Um,
family is all in Mexico, so we used to hang out around with them, and that's fine.
yeah, I was born in El Paso, so it's I literally, you spit and you can spit into Mexico and the same back, So it's like we could literally stand on our roofs and see into and over the border fences, into what's the little town that's like right outside of El Paso? I can't
Ciudad
even
Juarez.
remember. Juarez, yes. So but, anyways, yeah, I don't know. I was, born in El Paso, but I was a military kid, so, like, the second that I was born, my dad joined the military and moved out to, Italy and Spain and stuff like that. So I lived in Italy and Spain for, like, 2 or 3 years, but
Oh,
my parents ended up getting a divorce, and my mom moved back with, my grandma, and my grandma, she had already moved from El Paso to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Don't know why, but she did. She decided that that was where she wanted to go. And so anyways, yeah, I ended up being raised in Dallas Fort Worth. And you know, in the DFW area where we were at least, it was not, very Mexican heavy.
hmm.
Matter of fact, I was like one of like a handful of Mexicans in my school. And so,
Oh,
like, when growing up, it was like a very, how Americanized can we make this kid and how much of his heritage is he actually gonna hang on to being that I got there when I was, what, 3 years old? So
okay.
it's awesome to hear a story, of somebody that was able to grow up and still keep a lot of who they are and everything like that, you know, into adulthood, because I feel like I've been kind of washed into the American system and a lot of my heritage and a lot of stuff has kind of flown out the window as I was growing up. So it's unfortunate, but I'd love to get it like, love to get back into it, but, uh
Yeah, it's mostly because I mean, the farther you are from the border,
mhm.
usually kind of people, Latinos, lose that a bit. But since I was lucky enough to be in a border town, I just pretty much was all English and Spanish, and I actually my I started talking Spanglish when I was a kid, and my mother didn't like that. My
No?
father didn't like that. So they always tell me like if you're gonna speak in one language, do it in one language. But yeah, that's pretty
My
much.
my my grandma would very much, argue the point because that's all she speaks is Spanglish,
Oh.
you know? So it's like 2 or 3 words in Spanish, 1, like, really weird word in English, and then back to Spanish, and then back to English. It's
See,
like
and I do that now, and I'm thankfully I don't live with my parents now. But yeah, if I still do that, I gotta speak in Spanish, either in Spanish or in English. But that's it, no Spanglish.
well, that's interesting, but, I'm glad at least you can carry yourself how you wish these days.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So, how is that translated into the TTRPG world? I mean, have you noticed that it's more difficult, or is it easier to get into that aspect of it? Is there a lot more, like, Hispanic cultural, influences in the TTRPG world that you know of that I possibly don't?
That's pretty interesting because here in the US, not really, not really, not at all. It's basically just a couple of folks that are out there and doing it all for Latinas, and but I'm lucky enough to know Spanish, so I watch also a lot of Spanish shows on in T&D. It's pretty good. It's big in Latin America. It's big. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people are doing that now, and I started watching El Warrios. El Warrios is probably the first one that made a D&D show in Spanish, all in Spanish. So yeah, in shout out to El Warriors, by the way.
There's gonna be a lot of shouting out during this.
Yeah, there's gonna
There
be
really is.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, basically, I just started watching him and his group, and I started talking to them, and now I kind of hang out with them and play Phasmophobia, by the way, um, and I play a lot of D&D with them too.
Very awesome, very awesome. I mean, I'm super happy that there's a space for a lot of us, and Um, I when I was growing up, I grew up as, a nerd, like I was saying, I very much was into video games. I was very much into kind of just being very, very much of a lone wolf type. And when I was growing up, I think I had like maybe 2 friends that weren't Americanized white. I had one friend that was Japanese, and I had, one other Hispanic friend, who was Puerto Rican. But I didn't ever have anybody to really share cultural experiences with. It was more along the lines of just sharing interests, such as video gaming or whatever. Or, I think we were into like computer programming for a little bit and everything like that. We were really nerdy. And
Okay.
this was back in high school. But anyways, um, I didn't really have anybody to look up to. I thought I was like, okay, who's nerdy, who's also Mexican, and who's into like, in the movies and stuff like that I can. And so I couldn't really choose or pick. So I had like friends alongside of me that was in terms of like, yeah, I want to be just like them in terms of like what they do and stuff, but culturally I didn't have that. Did you have anybody growing up that you admired or possibly looked up to that kind of made you who you are today with as generous and very representative as you are today?
Like a celebrity or somebody in
It could be a
particular?
celebrity or maybe even like a family member or a friend that really kind of
Well,
helped you up.
yeah, well, celebrity wise, there's basically there's not a lot of us, but family wise, yeah, probably my parents. Yeah, they work a lot, they work hard, and they my mom is actually the nicest and kindest person ever, and I love her very much, and it's probably how she's very compassionate, and she's very positive in all the aspects of the world, especially right now. And I try to do that, and she's kind of my role model for that. But yeah, no, my dad works a lot. He works hard, and it's very funny. But yeah, I think those are my two. I look up to them.
That's awesome. I mean, that's great that you can say that. I mean, I don't know if I could say I'd look up to my parents, but I can say they were definitely there for me when I needed them, that kind of stuff. But for sure, that's really awesome and super wholesome. It's good to know that people have that kind of support. A lot of people are missing it, and it's nice to hear. Um, so with as much as you are, kind of into this whole scene now, when did you first get the notion that you needed, or wanted to at least start bringing Latinas, more into the spotlight?
Oh, yeah. That was pretty much back in September. I think we were starting Hispanic Heritage Month.
Mhm,
And actually, it was the D&D celebration or D&D something. And it was during Hispanic Heritage Month, and they had like three Latinas there.
mhm.
And I was like, there's a lot of us, and you're not making any panels or,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's like, okay, so we're here. How about a panel or a special D&D game with us? And I mean, that's not all. I mean, uh, I think the only person in Vampire, well, there's a couple of them that now that I see, but Cynthia Marie.
Hmm.
Cynthia Marie
Oh
is,
yeah,
I love Cynthia
she's
Marie.
amazing. Yep. So
Yep.
shout out to Cynthia.
Shout out to Cynthia Marie. Um, and she actually posted on Twitter that how is D&D celebration running during Hispanic Heritage Month and not having any Latinas there. There were like three Latinas there. So I started thinking, and I'm like, I should do something about it. If they're not gonna have us, I'll just make my own. Uh,
You Thanosed it. You're like, I'll do it myself.
I'll do it myself. Exactly. Yeah, that's me. I'm not that evil, but
Each one of the rings is a player. You gathered them all together.
yeah. So basically, that was it. I just got the courage to ask people around and ask them if they wanted to play TTRPGs, and I didn't want just playing D&D, so I added like we played Kids on Brooms and we played Pasión de las Pasiones.
Hmm.
And Pasión de las Pasiones was all in Spanish, by the way. And I actually was the director and the GM back then. And it was my first experience as a GM on a stream.
How did you like
And
it? What did you think?
oh, it's so good! It was so good. I had
It's
so much
addicting, isn't it?
fun.
It's so addicting.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's so addicting, and my players are incredible. My prayer, I know, no, 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 my players are super incredible. They all know me and they know I'm not exactly the most extroverted person. I'm more of
Mhm.
an introvert. So yeah, they I just played with them. They were all super amazing. But it's so good. It was so fun, by the way.
Oh, that's awesome. So, for those that don't know, and don't speak Spanish, what was Pasión de la was it de las Pasiones?
Pasión de las Pasiones is actually an RPG made by I forget Brandon Leon Gambetta. It's Latino game designer,
Mhm.
and he made this Pasión de las Pasiones. It's an RPG basically where you can play as a telenovela character, as you can play as a telenovela. So yeah, it's pretty fun, and it's so simple. I mean, everybody can just play around, and and you can be
I
dramatic,
was about
and
to say,
there's
I assumed the dramatics were off the charts because that's
oh
one of my favorite parts.
oh yeah, oh all the time. The dramatic, the tension, and all that was in,
Yes.
and since I'm always like a I like spooky stuff. I
Mhm.
always put a little spooky in all my games. So yeah, this was so fun.
That's great. I always tend to aim towards the spooky side as well in my games. So I do. I love to input a little bit of it in there. That's fun. That's super fun though. I'm super happy that you were able to get all those people together. Kind of. So how long after, like just saying, "Hey, I'm gonna put this thing together," did you were you actually able to throw everything up?
I was I was 3 weeks in advance before the.
Woo!
Yep, yep.
Dang.
So I had
We'll
to.
get into that. Like that 3 weeks is not very long.
No, it's not at all. But yeah, it was 3 weeks before the actual date, and I didn't want to run it on October because October is also Asian. No, what is it? Pacific Islander Heritage Month, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so I didn't want to clash with that month too.
Yeah, like overlap kinda thing.
Yeah, and it sucks, right? I mean, we have half of September and half of October, and
Yeah,
it's
it's strange.
why like that? Yeah,
It's
it's
very
just
strange.
yeah.
It's as a matter of fact, I didn't know that, like, growing up. I always thought, it was just we had half a month because I never thought of it going into the next month. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
But,
pretty
that's one of
much.
those things when you're a kid, you don't think about it, so,
Yeah,
well, I'm happy to see how many people are actually taking to you in the TTRPG space because every single time you see TTRPG gi or TTRP gifts, anywhere, if you see the name TTRP Gifts, it's probably like right before a giant paragraph of how amazing and how awesome and how cool and how kind you are. It's so awesome
Aw.
to see it. No, it's so wonderful. I've seen that you do plenty of charity games and put out a lot of heartwarming and overall wholesome content on the internet, which is just awesome. When did you decide that you are going to be the absolute king of gifting other people in TTRPGs? Now, I feel like you and Arsqueef, the person that does the gifts for Critical Role, you and them have the lockdown on it. You know, when did you decide this?
I'm not sure about that because there's a lot of gift makers out there. And actually, one of my senpai was Grimly, who does a lot of gifts for Roll20.
Grimly.
And yeah, Grimly. Shout out to Grimly. There's also Michael Wayne, who does a lot of gifts for Critical Bard or the Opera Geek and everything. But my favorite gift maker is Christina or RTC. Shout out to Christina out there. Uh, and
I hope
she's
everybody's
also
taking notes by the way for all these shout outs.
there's a lot of
we'll,
shout outs.
we'll have a
There's gonna be
a
and that we're not done with the shout outs right there.
we'll have a
Uh,
big list.
and Christina is also Latina. So,
Yeah.
and she makes a lot of gifts from Rivals of Waterdeep. She makes Into the Motherlands and all this cipher of Tier universe. She's right there, and she's my favorite right now.
That's great. I didn't know there was a whole pantheon of gift makers out there.
Oh yeah, and well, there's a lot of people who do that too. Gary, forknerd.com also does that, and yeah, there's a lot of gift makers out there.
Well, I don't know about them, but you are nearly at 1,000 gifts on Giphy alone. So I don't know if you post anywhere else, but Giphy, I think it was like what 937 or 94. I said it at the beginning there. Did you
Uh-huh.
know that you had that many?
Nope, nope. I gotta get a life, man. Uh, there's a lot of gifts. I didn't know it was that many. Are you sure about that? I
I
mean,
I took my phone and I did because for some reason it wasn't working online. Like I wanted to research this, and I was like, it's gonna be super easy to research. I'm just gonna go to the website and it's gonna be like at TTRP gifts, it has this many gifts. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'll just do that. And then I was like, shoot, it doesn't have that feature online, and I couldn't find any of your gifts. And I was like, I know he has gifts. This is who he is. And so I found it on my phone. And so I started scrolling on my phone up and up and up and up and up and up, and it just wouldn't stop. And I'm like, oh my God. And I got to count. So I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, scroll, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, scroll.
uh,
Yeah, it took a while. But yeah, that's a lot of gifts. But I mean, it's pretty amazing.
I'm thankful for that you did that, but also sorry for that.
Don't apologize because it was actually fun.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
that's a lot of gifts. But yeah, I started gifting. My first ever gift was Todd Kenrick doing an impression of the person from Labyrinth, and yeah, that was my first gift ever. And I started seeing a lot of. I wanted to do more stuff. This was when the pandemic started. So I was really in a dark place, and
Mhm.
I'm sure as many of us were. But I wanted to do something else, and I wanted to keep my mind off of all the things happening. So I started thinking. I started thinking of making videos or funny videos or memes about that, and I did a couple of them, but they didn't hit the spot right, just right. So I was looking for other stuff to make, and started seeing gifs, and like, okay, okay, maybe I could do that. And I started wondering and doing research on how to do that and finding all the right software. And I got into it, and I started making. I started. Uh, Back then, I was watching Beyond Heroes. on D&D Beyond channel,
Hmm.
and it was a D&D show, and I started thinking maybe if I could do like a GIF of them. Okay, so let's start with this, and I take it step by step, and eventually I got like 7 GIFs of all the people there, and share that on my personal account, and they loved it. They loved it.
So, did you know that your gifts were going to make such an impact on the TTRPG
No,
community? Because I
not at
know
all.
every single time I see one of your gifts, it is just like I said, it's heartwarming because people fall in love with it.
Oh,
It's
thank you.
I would equate it to someone doing kind of like fan art of a show. You know, somebody taking the time out, taking of their day to listen to what you're doing, and then from there, doing something artistic in a way to show appreciation for the show. And you know
Mhm.
what? I feel like what you do is extremely impactful.
Aw, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really try. And yeah, I would just started with Beyond Heroes and eventually got my way from D4. And then I stumbled into the Idol Champions universe and started giving them one of my best friends online is Lee Goldberg. And he makes this incredible pancake art of
Okay, yeah.
all
Yeah.
it's incredible. Shout out to Lee, wherever you are. Um and I started giving his his pancake art. And that was pretty intense because it's a lot of time doing those things. So I just had to speed it up a little bit and then cut it and all that.
You actually introduced me to that because when I was going through counting your gifts, it's, TTRPG, TTRPG, TTR, and then I was like, "Pancakes?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So Lee, shout out to Lee. But yeah, and I started that on my doing gifts like that, and eventually of all the shows, and that's how I got into TTRP gifts. Well, at first it was gonna be called D&D gifts, but
Mm, mhm.
before I actually got to that, I started watching Burn Bright, which is a TTRPG that was on Roll 20 a couple of years back, and I started getting way into it, and I started. That's that was the game that unlocked myself into a new TTRPG experience because I started looking into other TTRPGs other than D&D.
Right,
So
right.
that's how I got in. I called it TTRP gifts instead of D&D gifts.
So I have to ask you a random question.
Mhm.
Why was it Turkey TPG? What was it? Turkey TRPG,
I
gifts
was
or
just
what?
trying to make I was just trying to make it funny for Thanksgiving, so I just put
Oh,
it
okay,
turkey
okay.
TTRP
Because I
gifts.
was like, I saw it for the longest time in a lot of your posts and everything like that. It said Turkey TRPG or Turkey TRP gifts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I just used to change my name also to make it more into the season. So
No,
it
that's
was
funny.
Turkey TTRP gifts, or and December was TTRP gifts. So
And look at that, clever, clever. He's got a name that he can just throw around and change to any season if you want.
yep.
So, okay, with, speaking of seasons, the Oops a Latines,
Hmm.
wrapped up this year in celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, but was there a lot of planning involved, or did you just pop the idea up and see if anybody was interested? Were you, like, the only one that was like, "Hey, let's do this thing," or did you have a few people that were really helping with the whole planning process?
At first, it was just me. I was 3 weeks before, but I used to. I just started asking people if they want to join and play D&D with me. Jordan, D&D Jordan Lee, was actually one
Mhm.
of the persons that told me, "Hey, maybe you should make a forum so everybody can pick their own schedule and pick their games and pick and faster and faster communication." I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And
So
if it,
oh, go ahead, so please, I didn't sorry.
oh, okay, and well, eventually I got into I started asking people, I started asking companies. I don't know where I got the courage to asking companies if they can, sponsor the event, and put a lot of people there, and asking people, and I did all the overlays and all that stuff by myself. And yeah, I was 3 weeks before, and it all ran perfectly, thank goodness. And I got the producer, the best producer ever, DC Lesser, one of my best producer, my one of my best friends there. And yeah, he helped me a lot with
That's
producing
tremendous.
all. Yeah.
That's tremendous. So we can talk about that a little bit. As a matter of fact, I do like to have the audience learn a little bit about particular things during these interviews, and I think learning to kind of put together community events like this, in particularly, is a really handy skill that people can use and themselves, especially if it means more people are going to be able to do charity work. So if somebody wanted to throw together a large event like this, mind you, don't do this 3 weeks before. Leave it to the professionals to do like TT Gibbs here. How do they go about finding individuals to fill seats in their games? Do you just cold call them? Did you be like, "Hey, join my game?" Or do you have like a long script of like, "Hey, what to expect?"
Actually, yeah. Before that, I posted like a tweet on looking for people to that wanted to play video, not video games, but wanted to play TTRPGs, and wanted to make panels of neurodivergent people for Hispanic Heritage Month,
Mhm.
and that's how I got a list. And eventually, after that, I just went back to see the tweet and the people that actually posted something there, and I got the nerve to go into their DMs and ask him, "Hey, want to be part of this event that I'm planning and all that?" And yeah, and plan that ahead of time, not 3 weeks in advance, months if you can.
Yes.
But yeah, it's 3 weeks was a lot to do.
So, would you say a good starting off point for how long in advance you would plan something out like this is probably maybe like a month or 2, or how would you say even
Yeah,
further out?
pretty much a month or two if you can. A month is good, but yeah, not 3 weeks. But yeah, just asked people around, and eventually made a Discord where I added all the people there and started planning and made the games and all that. But yeah, that's pretty much.
So as you were saying before, you had reached out to sponsors and larger companies and stuff like that, and you yourself, I don't you weren't you hadn't GM'd a game yet or done like anything big or anything like that. So if somebody is new to this whole thing and they want to put together a huge community event and they're looking to get sponsored, how would they do that? What would be the process? Would it be the same as asking a player, or did you have like a really legitimate thing you wrote out for a company?
Yeah. So before the Latinas, there was a couple events that I did that had sponsorship.
Mhm.
The gift award, the the first TTRP Gifts Award had sponsorships from Idle Champions, and I think I forgot the other couple of them, but yeah, so I just got the nerve, and thankfully they all have social media. They have a Twitter, and so I went into their DMs and asked him, "Hey, so I'm planning this thing," and eventually they told me, "Okay, so can you send us an email about this?" And "Oh, sure," and I send them an email, and it all worked out perfectly.
So is there did you okay, and I don't mean to get into the ultra thick of it, but is there a request for finances, or is it a request for donations? Is it a request for what is it is especially that you're looking for if you wanna get something like this sponsored?
Since it was all for charity, I just asked for stuff that I could do for giveaways or stuff like that. But never asked for money in anything I've done. But yeah, it was all for, hey, if you have something that I can give away, so people donate more, or
Yeah.
incentives, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say incentives. Incentives are one of the biggest things you can do while doing some kind of charity event to get people to donate. Now, I know people will donate without incentives, which is
Yep.
amazing. But incentives not only including something that you can physically give somebody, but stuff you can do on stream or stuff that might happen in game if you donate enough. That kind of stuff during like a TTRPG game,
Yep.
that kind of stuff can incentivize people to be like, you know what, I can spare another $5 or I can spare another $10 here, kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, you got a lot of people doing that. And then all of a sudden you get a lot more donations. So that is
Yep.
definitely something to look forward to, especially if you're trying to get a sponsor for something like this.
Yes. Yes. Just ask around. As always, as you should with everybody. Be kind with them. They're a company, but they're also just be kind with them and don't demand anything. But yes,
For sure. For sure. Patience. Patience too.
a lot of patience. That's important.
Mhm.
Yes.
Don't fill up their inbox if you if you've emailed them. Don't wait to the end of the day and then email them again saying, "Hey, just checking up on that email that I sent you this morning."
Yeah. That's pretty. That's one thing you should pay mind to. Yes.
So you mentioned while we were talking about this, you mentioned the Golden TTRPGifs Awards.
Hey.
So for those that don't know, what in the heck are the Golden TTRPGifs Awards exactly?
The Golden TTRPGifs Award. So, back in when was this? April ish. I had the idea of making this. It was award season for some
Mhm.
reason, and I was like, there should be like something like that for TTRP gives for TTRPGs. It should be like that. Maybe I'll just use my own. I'll make my own. And eventually, I made a GIF so that people see that it was like this whole intro, and it had like Golden TTRP Gifts Award, and it was
It
golden.
was nice, yeah, it's legit. It was, like, had,
Yeah,
like, the spinning golden, like, bars.
yeah, it was all the spinning bars, and I just posted that and a question mark on the tweet, and people actually started looking at that and started and posting stuff and comments on that, and it was like, okay, so maybe I should do this, and
So
eventually,
so you say it was, like, award season that kinda sparked that interest in you,
yeah,
or
pretty
did you
much.
always kinda have this idea, like, in the back of your head, like, maybe we should do something to appreciate different
No,
people?
it was a war season,
It's
and I
just
just
random.
wanted to make something like that. And yeah, and so the TTRP Gives Awards are an event where it's a community driven event where people actually vote and nominate people from all the TTRPGs, and eventually people vote on them, and now they eventually get nominees, and then on the ceremony we announce the winners.
How did you end up coming up with, like, all the different categories and stuff like that for it?
That was just me. uh,
Just thinking about what could be a category?
Yeah, I was just thinking, what could be a good category? And I didn't want people actually competing with uh, different people, like the best, the best actor, the best actress. I didn't want that. So I just put the broader categories, and so it just came up with the most evil GM or the most silly moment and stuff like that.
Oh, no, it's wonderful. I mean, the way it's put together, it does not I don't think there's been a single time that I've seen anybody not praise everybody else that's in it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Oh, we're in this category with these guys, that's awesome," and, like, this, that, and the other. They are so ecstatic to even be considered as a nomination, which is pretty cool considering it's, like, the only one of its kind out there. I mean,
Yeah, and that thing was incredible. Just seeing that how people actually interacted with other people from other shows and say, "Oh, this is amazing. I get to know all these people." And then I created the Discord where people can actually hang out with all the nominees,
mhm,
and it's called the Green Screen channel. No, not green screen. Green
the
Room.
green room,
Green
yep.
Room. Yeah. So people just connect to them and talk with each other, and It's basically almost feels like a real award show.
It is a real award show.
I mean, yeah,
It
sure.
is. No, it really truly is. I mean, honestly, I didn't get a chance to see it live last year. I'm going to 100% catch it live this year. So it's coming up when? When's the date? The
Oh,
20.
it's Saturday, January 29th at
Mhm.
5 p.m. MST on my channel, TTRP Gifts.
Yeah, we definitely got to shout that out at the end for sure for everybody to remember to be there. Um, and I saw a picture from last year. You guys have to see Jorge in his outfit. He has like a full on award ceremony outfit that he wore last year. So I'm hoping you bring that back.
Oh yeah, big time. I have the whole thing right there. It's just
It's
waiting
like a
for
whole red carpet event and everything.
it. Yep, pretty much, yes.
So, as you were saying in the Discord and stuff like that, this one seems to be bringing, a ton of communities together, and they not only are they bringing communities like, of themselves, like, "Hey, our group got chosen, let's go vote." It's like bringing their communities of people into your community to be like to vote. So you're just getting, like, thousands of people voting for all these different things. How nervous were you when you first had to host the event, knowing that you had some pretty huge names that would be watching and like tons of people?
Oh, whew, I'm just thinking about it. I still feel the nervousness from back then. Oh my god. So that was the first my first big event ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was by myself. I was on camera by myself, and it was nerve wracking. My nerve wracking. My legs were shaking. Thank goodness anybody. It was just torso up, but yeah, uh, I was so nervous. It wasn't mostly because there was big names or anything like that. It was mostly because anybody was watching that was gonna watch it.
I believe me, I totally understand. Yeah. It's like something you put together and you just don't want it to come crashing down at any point, you know?
Yeah, it
And
was.
with it being online and everything like that, it just takes a single technical difficulty for
Oh
it
my
just
god, yeah.
to did you end up having any big technical difficulties during the show?
I don't think so. It was all pretty solid. I don't think we had any difficulty running with that. Uh, the only thing was that since I was new
Mhm.
in Twitch, I didn't know how to save them, save the whole thing. So I lost it all. I lost the whole ceremony, and there's a bunch of clips. There's like a couple of clips from the actual ceremony, but yeah, since I didn't click that ridiculous button that says save, I got lost. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think that we didn't had any issues with that. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people got emotional, which was so good. It was awesome. But yeah.
Yeah, I honestly, when you have an award show and you show appreciation, it's one thing to show appreciation, but it's
Hmm.
also another thing for so many communities and people to go out there and say that they appreciated that specific moment that you were involved in.
Hmm.
That's what brings the emotion. That's what makes award shows so crazy emotional is because it's like it's vindication for you putting yourself out there in a role playing moment and people showing that they actually care and appreciate you for doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, that felt good. That felt real good
Do
doing all that.
you do you yourself have so because you put this together for other people, do you yourself have like a favorite moment in one of your games that you actually played in? Do you have like a oh my god, yes, this is why I play D&D or this is why I play TTRPGs?
Honestly, I have a couple of them. There was one moment at the we were on Honey Heist, and it was all owl bears, and I played with a lot of people. Two of my heroes, and eh, and I made them all laugh out loud, and that was yeah, one of the best moments. A couple of months ago, one of the moments that was nominated for this year's GIFs Awards, where I made a lot of people break and go off camera by being silly. That's just the best thing. That
So
gives me
so
so much
breaking
life.
so breaking your other players and stuff like that, that's the moments that make it
Yeah.
happen.
I just made them break and go off camera, and everyone was laughing out loud. And that was that
Ugh,
was that's why I do that. And while playing Pasión de las Pasiones with my friends, that was so good too.
yeah. DMing and playing as a player are definitely 2 different worlds. I think if you're gonna have a moment to claim, I would definitely say, there's gotta be 2 separate ones. You gotta have one as a DM and you gotta have one as a player because there's a lot of things you experience as a DM that a player doesn't necessarily feel, and then a lot of things that a player experiences that a DM doesn't necessarily always feel. And to be honest, breaking your players or breaking your characters, like, or breaking your other people that you're playing with, like, in a big fit of laughter or even like in an emotional moment or something like that,
Mhm.
it's just bringing the raw emotion to uh, a sit together with friends is super fun. It's super fun, and that's why I play.
That one, that's good too. On my game of Pasión de las Pasiones, I put a little bit of spooky in that, and I just remember describing this whole moment, and I just remember all my players like eyes lit up, like when I told them about something, and that that gives me so much life too.
That's great. I love it. I love it. Yeah, when you can absolutely silence a room with a description of something, that's the moment. That's how you know.
Yep, yep, that's pretty fun.
So, with as many like stuff that goes into the GIF awards, with how many people are nominated, with how many shows there are, because there is, how do you know exactly how many shows you have nominated for?
Nominated? No, no, there's a lot
There's
of
just a
them.
lot, right?
There's
Um,
9 categories. Well, there's actually 8 categories, and we got honorees, and it's a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot, a lot. How many shows are you keeping up with these days? I know for me it's difficult to watch so many because I mean, God, there's just hundreds and hundreds. Um, I mean, really, it's like it's like picking your favorite pie, and there's just 1,000 pies in front of you. Um, but how many are you watching right now? Do you have any that you've kept up to date with?
Not as many as I want, but because my workload has increased a lot. There's also my stuff that I've been working on my stuff too, and yeah, there's not many shows right now. I got a couple of them, but not as many as I want to.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any that you can shout out to be like, this is this is my shit. I like this one.
Oh well, yeah. There's D4. There's Heroes of the Plains, Rivals of Waterdeep, and the Venture Maidens. Um, there's a couple of them too. Scribes and Scrolls,
Are there any
and
Hispanic ones that you've been watching that, you've been
yeah,
keeping an eye on?
Sendas en los Reinos. Yes,
Awesome.
Trece Albas, and yeah, that's a couple of them, but not as many as I want to. Yeah,
I mean, like you said, I believe you me, if anybody knows anything about your schedule filling up because of all the stuff you have to do individually, it's like I have basically lowered myself to putting on either a podcast or another person's TTRPG on my second monitor while I do something else on my first one, and just like every once in a while, like popping in and seeing if I could, you know, catch up with whatever's going on and stuff like that. So it's difficult. It's difficult.
yeah, because there's also a lot of shows out there that are doing like 4 hour shows. I can't keep up with that. It takes me a whole while to actually keep up with it. Like I can't keep with Critical Role. It's
Yeah.
way too
You
much for
you
me.
you know, that is a really good tip, and I know you didn't necessarily mean it, but this is a really good tip for those that are producing a TTRPG show or like an actual play or a podcast or something like that. Keep it a little bit shorter. Under 2
Yes,
hours is good. Under 2 hours
please.
is good. Um, this isn't because you can't spin spin a tale that transcends time and space. I know there are a ton of people like you guys out there, but the fact is people's not just attention span. First off, my attention span hard to fucking I can hardly watch for that long. But let alone a attention span, they got lives. And putting setting aside 4 hours at a time, it's difficult to one watch it all in one go, but it's even more difficult to watch it and then like ended at a certain point because it's like, "Oh my gosh, that's all the time I have to watch it now," and then go back and find out where they were in
Yep.
the episode and be like, "Okay, this is kinda where I was," and it's just a lot more work for the listener and or the viewer, and then you're just making it harder on yourself for people to want to come back and watch what you have to go. So, under 2 hours is definitely the sweet spot, yes.
Oh yeah, big time. That helps a lot, and especially for people with ADHD, it's that's really helpful.
Yeah. I definitely don't claim to have ADHD, but I have 0 attention span when it comes to watching long-term projects and long-term videos and stuff like that. I'm like, I'll have to get up and grab something to eat, or I'll go and, get grab a drink, or I'll
Yeah,
go
you
into the
gotta
other room,
set the
pick
mood.
something up.
Yeah, pick a lot of toys of something you can fit with, and yeah, that's you
Have my
gotta.
phone have my phone, start scrolling, that
Yeah,
kind of thing.
pretty much.
Twitter
But
Twitter is the bane of my existence if I'm sitting there having to watch a long movie or something. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's 2 hours is the best thing.
Well, now that I've had you on the show for about an hour or so now,
Oh, geez.
is yeah, it's time flies by when you're talking TTRPGs, my friend. Well,
Hey.
is there anything else that you have coming up in the near future that you'd like to talk about or go over?
Oh yeah, I got a lot of stuff coming
Yeah,
up.
yeah, I saw you had the recent Twitter post with, like, the freaking Marvel
Oh, you
Cinematic
saw that. You
Universe
saw that.
picture. Yeah, I commented on it. I was like, "It literally looks like the Marvel Cinematic Universe when they released all the titles of the movies, but not the dates and stuff like that."
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff.
So
First of
shout it out. What
all,
do you got?
next Saturday. No, it was next Saturday. Yeah, on the 22nd, we got the Phoenix Five. It's gonna be run by it's a D&D run by Lauren Urban, and it's all Phoenix clerics. Well, it's the Phoenix domain clerics is actually something that Lauren came up with, and me as a player of Phoenixes, I started playing with that. On the 29th, I have two things. I got two things. Yeah, two things. It's the start of my own campaign in Spanish. The what are you doing right there? Oh, okay. Okay.
Please continue.
No, see how I was talking about something and then my mind just went out the other way. Yep.
Yeah. So for those that are listening, I put up something on the screen to kinda show off the Phoenix 5 that he was just talking about.
Yep. So that's going to be on January 22nd at 4 p.m. PT. Thank you for that, for
No
putting
problem.
that down. On the 29th, we have my own campaign with it's going to be in Spanish. It's going to be Strixhaven. And then after that, I'm going to have the Golden TTRPGifs Awards at 5 p.m. MST. And then I got a lot of stuff. If anybody wants to be a part of it, just shoot me a DM, or I don't know. There's I've been playing in a lot of stuff. I've been playing in a lot of Encanto. I want to
Mhm,
do
yeah, I saw
an
that.
Encanto one shot. I got druids. I got owling. There's a lot of stuff there.
I think you and I had a Miguel off
Oh yeah, yeah.
to see who looks more like. Well, I will bow down to you, Jorge. You look much more like Miguel when you were younger. You had like the perfect cut hair and yeah.
When I was younger, yeah, I had that ridiculously similar haircut.
It was great. You had like a little poncho on too. Um,
Yeah.
what's with the Encanto one shot? Care to share anything about that? Is it just what's that gonna be all about?
Okay, so what I'm planning is to having a group of all Latinas cast, and and just having the members of the Madrigal family,
Mhm.
and having also Miguel for some reason because I want Miguel from Coco to be there.
Sure.
And I'm planning on this being Kids on Brooms game because it's gonna be super simple and it's gonna be magic and all around. But yeah, something like that.
Awesome,
And
awesome. Anything else?
I think that's all. Just stay tuned. Follow me on TTRPGifs, and you'll find out about more stuff coming soon.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you go to his Twitter, like I said, check out that Bale poster that he posted of all the things that are coming out soon. You could get your Marvel calendar out and kind of mark off what you want as it comes out, and he he doesn't even need to re-release a new thing. He just reposts the same thing with a new date underneath it to put hype up. They're like, "Oh crap, it's coming out now. It's hype, hype."
Yep. Pretty much. Pretty much.
Well, hey, thank you so much. Well, guys, it is closing in close to the end of these things, and I'd love to have a bit of Q&A from the audience. If you have anything you'd like to ask TTRP Gifts or myself, um, it's if you have questions about either the award show that he does, if you have any questions about Latinas and the community, shoot it out now in chat, and we will be more than happy to answer. I think we have one question kind of right off the bat here, from Hoopla Hick, Texas, saying, "What are your favorite board games, Jorge?"
Oh, that's a good one. I need to play more board games. First of all, I don't know if this is a board game or not, but I just love playing it. But Loteria is one of the best things ever.
Oh yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Well, care to explain for people who don't know?
Loteria is more of a Latin American game where you just where you use cards and you yell Loteria whenever somebody is mentioning the card that you have in one of your cards. Um, I I like Catan.
Mm,
Um,
classic.
yep, I used to play a lot of that, and there's a what there's a Shadows game. I don't remember the name of it, where you could play with the light and you're trying to look for shadow beings. That was one of my favorite things. And I used to play a lot of Game of Thrones
Oh,
board game.
really?
Oh man, but that takes a long time to set it up and to actually finish one session. It takes a lot.
What kingdom did you come from?
I was from Winterfell,
Winterfell.
obviously,
Obviously.
obviously.
Lonzo Gonzo asks, "What's your favorite tostada?"
What's my favorite tostada? The normal one with frijoles and carnita and a little bit of queso. That's it. That's the the original one.
It
Not
doesn't take much to be amazing when
yeah.
it comes to Hispanic food. I'm for real. Like, it's all good. It's all so good. There's only a
Yeah.
few that are like, "Oh my god, no." I've never had cow tongue, and I don't think I could ever bring myself to have cow tongue, but my family always talks about putting cow tongue and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
I, so what is that? Oh, so it's
I
that
forgot what
actually
it's
is
yeah, I forgot what
lengua.
the ling yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I love that. I love that. Tacos de lengua is one of the best things ever. But yeah,
Now, I'm not putting it to the into the category of I would never try it, because I love menudo and tripe. Yeah, it's so good.
menudo is just the best.
It's the best. It
Yeah.
is the best soup after having, like, a long night out. It's the best soup for winter.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like
Mm-hmm.
it's the go-to amazing, and of course, myself, I do like the tripe. My wife is not a fan of the tripe, so she gives me her tripe, and, she has, like, a bowl full of hominy, basically. That's it. But, I mean, I am all about it. That is, like, one of my favorite meals for sure. Um,
Mm.
we have a question from Something Really Witty. Question saying, "Why are you so damn awesome and cool?" From totally not Trevor stealing his wife's phone while she's watching this.
Oh, shout out to you, something really witty, and shout out to Trevor too. And you are cool. No, you are. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, guys, do you have any other questions in chat? Shoot it out now. If not, while he is doing the ending here, uh, while you're doing your little plugs and whatever you have to shout out, other than the 500 people we shouted out during this
We shouted a
episode.
lot of people, right?
I love it. We got to have like a list of people, how many we actually shouted out. I'm gonna put like a Twitter post of like at symbols of all the people we actually talked about. No, no, no. Okay, real quick before we get to the shout outs at the very end here. What's been your favorite GIF that you've created? Do you have a favorite?
Oh man, a favorite GIF?
Like what's one that just like sends you into a chuckle every time you look at it?
Oh, there's a lot of those from Heroes of the Plains. One of my best, well, the one that I most, yeah, the one I'm remembering right now is one of the Jen Kretschmer, where she's like, where she had, I don't remember what was happening exactly, but she was like, "Oh please, Connor
Yes!
fell."
I love that one. I commented on that one. So, I mean, there's been a couple that have, like, stuck out to me, that one
Yeah.
being one of them for sure. And I think
Yes.
the other one that really sticks out to me is Obo Lauren. The
Uh
Obo
huh.
Lauren.
Yeah. That was pretty fun to make. That was pretty fun to, and I put yeah that yeah especially yeah there I got a lot of gifts of Lauren and Jen, but yeah.
Lonzo Gonzo asks, "Who is at your dream table?" So if you could play with a series of individuals, currently.
Oh goodness.
Could be anybody
Yeah.
you want.
Okay, so first of all, I
Celebrity
need to
alike.
have yeah Pedro Pascal right there.
Mhm.
I need to have um uh I forgot his real name, but Guillermo from What We Do in the Shadows,
Oh, for sure.
and AOC. I have to have AOC there playing. It's so Noel Latina's dream table, and everybody everybody's invited, but I have to have those three people there.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, those are great. Those are great names. They all would be fucking wonderful. What would they play? Oh,
What would
no.
we play? I don't know. Maybe some Dungeons and Dragons. Maybe some.
Oh, man. It I w with Guillermo in it, and I know, Pascal is also fucking hilarious as well. I feel like a funny game of Vampire the Masquerade or something like
Oh my
that versus
god!
a
Can you
serious
imagine
one.
that? You know. Okay, so I'm just gonna say this. I really not interested in playing vampire games because it gets really dark, and
It gets really, really dark, yeah.
I'm really not that kind of person that wants to play dark stuff. I mean, I play a lot of Ravenloft, but really
That's
really
dark
dark
light.
stuff.
That's dark light.
Yeah, yeah, but maybe if it was a fun game like that, like we were planning on having a What We Do in the Shadows vampire game, that would be so fun, and I would be so down to play something like that.
Yeah, for sure. A very, very kind of like, a spin-off of it or almost like a parody of it.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much, yes.
Dan and Jorge both, what's been the hardest thing going between GM and player? Well, you've only GM'd like what? How many games now?
I've only GM once.
So this is one game.
Yeah, and
What
no,
was the
one
biggest
shot.
like change for you from going from player to GM?
Actually, stepping into the GM and not being to play. Well, not well. You're actually playing as a GM too, but as having a character right there. But you're playing a shit ton of NPCs, and you're describing the whole setting and the whole background on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
environment and all that stuff. A lot of explaining to do there.
yeah. I if I had to say my biggest thing when switching from like player to DM or just like the difference between the two, I would say that when you are a player, I truly, truly, truly enjoy the fact that your decisions change the story. The DM or the GM comes up with the story and like the preemptive notions that kind of push you in a certain direction, but they don't necessarily change the story. They don't bring an NPC in to kill you, as a, fun little thing to do. That's like part of the story, right?
Okay.
I think as a player, being able to just say like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do this," and just go
Mhm.
off and just change everything, giving you that freedom to do that. That I think that's cool. That's what I love about being a player. But as a DM, what I love, all the different voices. You get to be different people. I'm a voice actor by trade. I have a voice acting job that I do every once in a while, and I love voice acting. So, um,
Oh,
yeah, and so doing voices is one of my favorite things to do in D&D. So the more I can do that because, I get to play all the NPCs, the more I enjoy it.
you know what's really good all for like being GM? When you have focusing problems, issues, TM, uh, and you're actually the GM of any game, you start focusing on that like intensely. Like your mind, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but my mind just starts focusing on every single detail and trying to explaining and describing all that stuff. And yeah, and just keeping up with the
100%.
players. Yes.
100%. And I think it all boils down to the fact that if you don't pay attention as the GM, you're ruining 5 people's games, like, or whoever, how many players are in your game. You're gonna ruin their experience because you're like, wait, what's happening?" Or like, "Oh, I missed that part." But when you're a player and you kinda, like, dip in and out, a lot of times you can get away with it. A lot of times you could be like, "I didn't get that, but I think context clues, we can still get there because everybody else was maybe paying attention," or something like that. Um, so yeah, for sure, when it comes to attention span as a DM, you 100% nailed it. Like, for some reason, as a DM, I'm there, and then as a player, a lot of times, like, I'm like, "Okay, can we move on, or can we do something?" Or my brain, you know? Yeah, I start losing it a little bit. For sure, you nailed it. Let's see, let's go down the line. Okay, and we'll take this last question here. Something really witty asks, "What is a TTRPG you want to run this year? Are there any, like, specific TTRPGs that you wanna play?"
Oh, um, I'm not sure if this one actually needs a GM for it, but it does need a facilitator. But I really want to play Alice is Missing.
Mm, I've heard really good things about it. I haven't
I
played it.
I've seen a couple of gameplays on it, and I really want to play that. And it's all basically just texting with each other, and I really want to play something like that. I really want to play make my own Keep Some Rooms thing. Uh, I want to play more Burn Bright and yeah, and more D&D. Why not?
Just all of them.
Yeah, pretty much everything.
Just everything.
Yes, pretty
So there
much.
there's your answer, just everything. No, but that does sound great, and like I said, I have heard a lot of good things about Alice is Missing, so, yeah, I would definitely love to see you in something like that. That'd be very cool.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I do want to play is the Tales of Sadia.
Hey, Tales of Xadia. Yeah, I played it before. That's one of the very few games outside of D&D I've had a chance to play, and I
Yeah,
really liked it. It was fun.
yeah. I really want to play. I played like a version of it before, but I wouldn't want to play something like that.
Yeah. And there's Tales of Xadia, and then there's Avatar: The Last Airbender, that use the same exact system to play. So if you're a
Oh,
fan
it's
of
the same system.
yeah, if you use the same if yeah, it's the same type of, like, you basically take a pool of dice and you get to choose which ones you use. I think it's the same system. I could be completely wrong, everybody. If you're listening, I could be completely wrong. And also, welcome to everybody that joined us at the very end of this stream. But yeah,
Oh,
I could be 100% wrong. Take it with a grain of salt, please. I think maybe I think I may have gotten that wrong. I think what it is the animators of or the creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender made the Dragon Prince. That's what I think
yes,
it
yes.
was.
That is the same thing. Yeah, yeah.
Ha See? Full circle. It came around. I was completely wrong, and then I was completely right. So
Yes,
anyways.
you got it. You got it.
So anyways, to close off today's, interview, first off, I wanna give a big shout out to Jorge himself. Thank you very much for joining us. You have been an absolute treasure to the community, an absolute pleasure to talk to today. If you have anything you'd like to shout out, now is the time. So, do you have any kind of social medias or any games or any people you'd like to talk about right now? Please go ahead.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This was my first podcast ever. I'm nervous as all hell, but thank you so much for making me feel so comfortable. And thank you very much for that. And as far as me, you can follow me at TTRPGifs on Twitter, or also you can follow me at RoboGoblin01. And I also got, for some reason, I just got a TikTok. If you want to hang out
Oh
there,
no. Oh
if
no,
you
you've
can,
fallen in the hole.
I know, and there's quite a hole. There's a lot of stuff there, but yeah, I think it's RoboGoblin 01 too. But yes, for
All
some
right.
reason, and yeah,
Is there anywhere do you post your stuff? Do you have a YouTube or anything like that?
I do have a YouTube. There's the only thing that's right there is the nominees for last year's TTRP gifts and a one shot of the
Mm.
Honey Heist with all owlbears. But yeah, it's at TTRP gifts too.
Okay, there you go. I would also like to say, as it's one of the big events coming up, go ahead and shout out again the award ceremonies that's coming up.
Okay, so yeah, on the 29th, we got the Golden TTRPGifs Awards, a celebration of the nominees and the winners chosen by the TTRPG community. It's gonna be at 5 p.m. MST on my channel at TTRPGifs on twitch.tv/TTRPGifs.
Awesome. Jorge, thank you so much for joining me today. Guys,
Thank you.
everybody and chat, thank you all so much for your questions and thank you all so much for hanging out. I hope today you learned a little something about the community, about giving, about setting up a sponsored event, possibly. A lot of stuff we talked about. So thank you all very much for joining us. And as always, keep being your best selves. Bye, everybody. Have a good week. We'll see you next time.
Bye.